lot of to do about what's going on with Evelyn Lozada, um, Shawnee O'Neal, um, Ta- Tammy Roman, um, Kristen, someone named Kristen. Um, what I want to say is it's called abusive women. It's called abusive women. Okay? I think that's what we should look at. Women who have a history of abuse. This thing with the females from Basketball Wives is about abusive women. Some people say, oh, it's colorism. It's abusive women. Coupled with racism, but of course, it's abusive women. You have Shawnee O'Neal, who is neglectful. Why am I saying that Shawnee O'Neal is neglectful and abusive? Because she has been complacent when in regards to Evelyn Lozada's behavior and attitude. She has taken the position to be as confident and friend. As a confident and as friend of Evelyn Lozada, if you're sincere in your relationship with her, what you do is you let her know that she's demonstrating abusive behavior that cannot be tolerated, which was not done. It was not done from the very onset of the program. And not only that, if she is an executive, she should have laid down the foundation that these are the rules that encompasses the show, and that when the rules are violated, that the consequences will be thus, thus, and thus. Not the fact that okay, we're bringing in all these revenues, just let her do what she wants to do, and we'll do damage control afterwards. First things first. The show starts with a lot of abuse. Oh, let me not forget our sweetheart Jackie. Miss Jackie has been abusive as well. What's another? Malaysia has been abusive as well. Has demonstrated acts of violence, physical violence, towards others. And I do not agree with these behaviors because it actually feeds into the racist perspective of black women being aggressive and demonstrating a behavior that's unacceptable. So not only is it abusive, it's racist. It's a racist demonstration of the portrayal of women of African descent that should not be allowed to be portrayed. So we have Shawnee O'Neal as an executive being neglectful, portraying images of African women, African American, Afro-Caribbean, Latina, whatever, women of color in a most detrimental light. Next, we have abuse on all levels, psychologically, emotionally, physically. That's being demonstrated and that's being projected as models for not just young women, but for women in general. That is unacceptable because we have women who actually have behaviors and demonstrated behavior that is quite beautiful, quite attractive, quite representative of African women in upward movement that is in need of being portrayed and highlighted to our young women and women of all ethnicities. So this behavior of violence, and then to pick and choose which personality is violent and is not. The point is, from the time Miss Evelyn Lozada been on the Basketball Wife show, she has been a detriment to the image of people of color, of Latina, um, Afro Latina, of Afro Caribbean, of Hispanic, of whatever you want to call a woman of color. She has been a disgrace and a dishonor to women of African descent. It's not just throwing many bottles of wine when it wasn't that. It was picking up objects in general, uh, assaulting people. And it should have been addressed legally so that it was not a behavior that was continued and acceptable. And Shawnee O'Neal, sister, you are an enabler. You're abusive yourself, because to allow that to happen to other women shows that you are a participant in the violence and the abuse. And it's not that the idea of having assertive behavior or non-violent aggressive behavior. It is the fact that it has escalated to placing people at risk. For that lady to be throwing, and I say that lightly, throwing bottles of wine in a public area or in any area that could have harmed any one person shows a lack of respect and dignity for who you are. There's no need to claim anything, not even to claim a woman, because that behavior is unacceptable. And as women, we cannot co-sign that type of behavior. Then to go on a rampage for 3 years about being abused and turning around and then doing the same thing to other women that you said you weren't going to do. Your word cannot be honored. You're a disgrace to women, period. And then Kristen constantly going after Cece to abuse her and to set her up to be abused by Evelyn is disgraceful, as if that cannot be seen. That family didn't have issues until Kristen needed a storyline. Let's all be honest. Then she wanted to use Cece. She wanted to use Mr. Byron. She wanted to use the son. This is ridiculous, Scott, Mr. Scott. This is ridiculous. There must be a better way. Then to put Brother Shaq O'Neal with yourself as if you're saying something. We all know that an abuser could select who they want to abuse and not abuse other children, not abuse other women. Let's not play these real minuscule low-level mind games. Shawnee, you're disgraceful. You enable and co-sign abusive behavior of women. And you've been doing it for years. Let's be honest. Season after season. You put no tool in place to diminish that type of portrayal of women of African descent. You did nothing. All this big talk about colorism. It's a racist tool that you're using to portray women in an aggressive and violent way. The most horrible way to portray women of African descent. Being aggressive and abusive and, oh, I'm so scared. That's a racial stereotype. Another tool of racism to divide and conquer and destroy African women, women of African descent. And if no one saw it, I am telling you that's what it is. In the portrayal of African women on television throughout the world. That's disgraceful and dishonorable. And it must be stopped. And for all the people in and out of the diaspora that has denounced this behavior, I applaud you. I bow to you that you have opened your mouth to stand against such destructive behavior of our people, of our nation. It is not acceptable. And there were several women that co-signed that type of image of us. Not just Shawnee as an executive and a participant, a member of the show. Evelyn as the, how should I say this, as the front person. You had Malaysia. You had at one time, on the LA one, you had Shawnee attacking, going after Gloria, going after Susan. Then Susan herself started going after someone else, attacking someone else. I mean, it seemed like the behavior of women of color, women of African descent being violent was the only way to heighten the viewers for the show. There are other things that you can do that shows conflict and mediation of conflict and resolution of conflicts that women of African descent, the tools we utilize and we implore to move forward, rather than taking us backwards and portraying us as animals before the world community. This is demeaning. This is destructive. It's a tool of racism, and it should not be endorsed. And it's totally inhumane. I am proud of our nation, of the African community, African American community, of the African community, of Africans throughout the diaspora for addressing this issue. We stand strong together. We are of one mind. Let's continue to reflect. Let's continue to maintain our morality and our humanity. Be safe.